Hi, my name is Samuel Ray, private chef and health coach to pro athletes and major CEOs of the world. Now, for this talk, this subject, this matter, I wanted to bring a very meaningful subject to the table that I feel like a lot of my peers and inner circle have motivated me to talk about. I didn't know it would come up so quickly, but we just got to go with kind of universal law and how things are really feeling inside of you, right? In terms of communicating, and that's how we're going to really represent this channel is going with what comes natural, what feels next, what feels like needs to be expressed, and the subject finally that we're talking about is growing up in our from our youth, from our childhood. So really today's subject is childhood development in terms of what childhood has done for us, to us, but really for us. Right? We want to, even if we've had a poor childhood, or maybe we wish we wish we had a different experience. There are there's a stance that we need to first take and really always take, which is not to, victimize ourselves. Definitely really see what went down, not neglecting what was real, what took place in our childhood. However, understanding that there's a lot of people who definitely suffer from, parents who weren't in the right position, whether it be financially, whether it be mentally, emotionally. It's really all connected. I definitely want to discuss and just really open the discussion board for understanding that overall health and wellness goes and stems back from our childhood and the things that we were around, what we've seen, what we didn't see, what we were exposed to, what we weren't exposed to, and how all of this really plays a part in the picture that we are creating for ourselves currently. So I'm very intrigued and excited to go over certain subjects on childhood. Excited to discuss, and hopefully you can gather some relatable context towards perseverance. And no matter what you go through, it doesn't define who you are, but it defines what you do with whatever happening, or however you also just want to be, whoever you want to be. If you see yourself, or if you see the image or example you were brought up with or raised with, excuse me, there's always room for progression. There's always room for seeing and developing who you truly want to be. So I'm very excited, and again, looking forward to discussing topics of childhood. I'll be right into it. I always hold back towards like bringing up um, how I was raised, because I'm going to bring myself as an example just so that one, you can get to understand who I am and maybe what has driven me over the years um, to keep working on my health and wellness. From the start, if we really want to start from the beginning, I was 11 years old, and I was always an athlete. Always had this like athletic feeling of like whether it be baseball, basketball, soccer, football, hockey. There was always inside of me that wanted to compete. That if it wasn't even competition towards or with others or against others, it was within myself. It was wanting to be better, wanting to, get that jump shot perfected, wanting to, you know, learn how to throw the football a specific way, learn how to get my lower body stronger, learn how to create better endurance for myself. As I said, it really, I was raised inner city, Manhattan, Queens, grew up single mother, working very hard to, just really try to make ends meet. So I saw the immediate example of hard work, of, maybe it's not smart work, right? Where you're just trying to run around and trying to accomplish and make what you think is as much money as possible. But my mother did the best, and, she really did set an example for getting after it and making sure you have food on the table. So I'm always in appreciation of that. Now, what drove me to want more is at the age of 11, I started to really get heavily into basketball. I saw that I had just natural talent or more talent than the other kids. So I doubled down on that and it became my life. I became, walking with a basketball through, Queens Boulevard and McHagan, out of where I am, dribble around people, doing circles around people. They're not playing, they're just walking up and down the street. But I just became committed. I started to really find commitment. I started to see the example that I was setting for myself on an everyday basis where it was like, oh, I'll wake up, it's 8 a.m. Let's go to the park. Come on, you gotta get better. You gotta get better. I want to get better. I want more. Because I saw that I wasn't raised with certain levels of discipline. So I was trying to like tap into discipline. I was trying to connect to it. I saw that, if you do certain things, it seems like you're going to reap a lot of different rewards, physically, mentally, being strong, emotionally. So even from a young age, I really started to feel this and want to develop this sense of discipline. So every day I would just from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. like literally just like attack the courts, basketball courts, just all through Queens. And I had these cool babysitters who would take me to, Rucker Park and all these different parks because they also saw that I had some serious talent. So they would try to put me in these different environments that had better talent, that, kids were working harder to get out of whatever position they were in. So, basketball was a big way, especially in the 90s. I mean, it still is, right? But like there was a very big connection towards getting out of the gutter, getting out of bad environments and being able to use sports to get us there, I was like that token white kid who, experienced a lot of like hardcore concepts of like, games and from a young age seeing people, live certain types of ways. And that being the examples and not having as much of male role models to focus on, being or transcribing into being that this like male figure power of discipline. I had to learn how to try to develop that myself. So I just really tried to double down on the actions, on getting better, being in the parks, of taking on whoever wanted to play 1-on-1, 5-on-5, whatever it may be, So that was my childhood. There was a big portion of it that was dedicated to getting out of the house because there was so much argumentation going on. There, a lot of fighting. So I had to get out of the house, and sports and movement and exercise was the vehicle that helped me get out of these really nasty mental and emotional and sometimes even physical positions of I need to get myself out of here, So I'm not going to subscribe to this. What's going on in the household? I need to subscribe to health, to what's healthy and what's going to drive and motivate me and make me feel better and allow me to rid these like hardcore emotions that I'm feeling, right? Because it's tough being a young person and seeing that your parents aren't getting along and seeing that, your parents and your mother's having trouble, paying bills, and it's not easy, and I know I'm not the only one who has walked through this or, who comes from a certain financial situation. There's plenty of people, currently, and this is how people, get more for themselves. They see that they don't have it. They see that if they don't do something about it, they will never have it. Where they come from, there aren't people setting up, trust funds for themselves, for their kids. They're not setting up, Roth IRAs. They're not setting up mutual funds. They're not putting an emphasis on being grounded and disciplined through, these really stable these stable sources of life and going about life and executing at a very high level or even just some type of level, right? So from a young age, I was just trying to really just scratch the surface of unhealthy foods that were around me because like my mom's working all day and I need to fend for myself. My mom gives me a certain amount of money and she's like, you know, uh, use it responsibly. And I'm like, all right, so I'm buying pizza, I'm buying empanadas, and these aren't sourdough empanadas that I'm making today. So, these are, 25-cent store. I grew up around a lot of multicultural upbringing. So it was like beautiful at the same time, dancing, going to parties, and from a very young age, it was very interesting, you know. So there's a lot to appreciate, growing up a certain type of way. You being the token white boy, and you're able to move your body and articulate through dance, and Hispanic dances, and all different types of multicultural uh, types of vibes, should we say? Which was beautiful and just naturally what I was able to what is what I connected to. So it was while having a tough childhood and facing certain traumas. It was also a very beautiful childhood because I was exposed to growing up. And I know a lot of people will think of this as like too intense, but growing up um, early, growing up and learning that you have to navigate certain situations and see and kind of navigate who people are coming into your life, or do they mean well, do they not, do they just want to like use me, do they just want to make fun of me? So it was a lot of like dissecting and trying to figure things out from a young age. So I never really understood what I wanted to be, but I just knew I knew I wanted to be better. I knew I had this like special source in myself, but I was learning how to tap into just something, just some type of like structure, some type, because I didn't have it. There was no structure in my life. I went out whenever I wanted to, and I was young. Like I was like 11, 10, 9 years old, hanging out with like 18, 21, 25-year-old dudes and people who, you know, these are like hoodlums, you know what I'm saying? But they respected me. They gave me a platform of like respect almost, you know? They saw that I was good at sports. They saw I can like move and dance and, be a part of the culture. So they respected who I was and they kind of were like, oh, this is cool. This is cute, this is funny. This kid can hang. So I did a lot of hanging around a lot of bad characters, people like, because I just wanted to belong to something. I just wanted to, that's why sports, specifically basketball, is a source where I can just like belong to something. I can go out and make friends. I'm a single, I don't have any siblings. So I'm a single child who's just trying to belong, just trying to find proper people in my life. People who would give me respect, who would allow me to like show all this like love I had inside and had inside of me. But I had to be careful, right? You have to be careful how you open up to people, or else they'll use it against you. Or so there's a lot of like dissecting, and I don't need to get away from the point of how our childhood brings us to health and wellness, because I'm really not. I'm really allowing you to understand that in reality, I faced a lot of traumas and a lot of crazy situations growing up in inner city, and just like fending for myself and being not having, trying to belong to something, trying to find something that was real, and people who were real, who like wanted to be, who wanted to showcase love. I wasn't finding it. I was seeing so much anger building up that I saw so much frustration. I saw so much lack of accountability. That's exactly what I didn't want to be. And I took a very hardcore stance where I kicked out anybody from my life who didn't match up to that type of energy. And I guess you would say, oh, wow, that's powerful. That's good. You're like moving away from uh, people who don't, in a way, serve you or don't help you grow. However, within that process, there's a lot of pushing away your, whether it be your parents or your loved ones. And sometimes you really have to do that. You have to learn how to, release and just like get away from certain levels of energy and trauma and misunderstanding. You have to be able to move along. And I've talked about this in a previous episode of your environment creates your inner and outer health. What you subscribe to in terms of what you allow inside of you, who you allow inside of you, who and what you connect to, that's what you're going to represent. So if you're around a lot of unhealthy, mean people who are about, smoking this and getting that and, meeting that next chick and, having this type of energy of, not respecting what's in front of you, but just moving on to the next. It's always about that. You start to see that maybe that's what I should be. Maybe that's what I should achieve. That's maybe what's there for me. But, God in the universe throws certain situations at you that you don't realize are there to help you and to heal you and to push you. So your story, your childhood can be there to push you. It can be there to help you understand that God and universe maybe puts you in circumstances of making you feel like you don't belong, or this group that you thought was really your friends that says like you don't belong here. You're not part of this. You don't want to hook up with all these different women, and mind you, I'm 10, 11 years old, so I don't really know what sexuality really means at this point. I'm still growing into that. Sorry, I'm just, I'm helping you understand. This is a process, a big process of development. If you were to see me when I was young, I was massive tantrums, lack of, didn't make my bed, there was no responsibility there for me to ground me into discipline. So I had to learn how to create and subscribe to discipline. And like I was saying, getting kind of back on the track of what God and universe throws at you, there'll be people, this inner friend who you think are really your friends telling you, get away, man, you don't belong here. And you go home that night and you're like, you don't belong. You're a young person and you just want to have friends, you want to connect to something, some type of people, right? This is what it's about, having community and connection to people. And all I'm feeling is like people turning their backs on me, whether it be my own family, whether it be, my friends who I thought were my friends, so there's a lot of situations that I dealt with of, having the door thrown at me, and I've had to pack my stuff and move on. And it showed me that, yeah, you know what? I really don't belong to these type of people. I'm so much better than these people. I don't drink. I don't do drugs like this. I'm not like looking to womanize. I'm not looking to just treat women like they're some like subjects. I have a lot to offer, and I know, and I felt it even at like 10, 11 years old. I felt like it was a blessing from God. The next day I woke up and I was like, shoot, man, so blessed. So blessed to have that situation get me. Or else when was I really going to ever get out of it? Was I just going to like run down the same path that these people are going, leading to me, going to jail or, getting into certain other levels of trouble? I mean, you don't know. I really don't know what would have happened if there wasn't something inside of me that naturally, propelled these type of moments, these like crucial moments that are so tough to go through. And it's not like, and that happened at like 10, 11. And then I moved on to, leaving, Manhattan and Queens and trying to go. My mom was like, we got to get out of here because my house got robbed. And so it's like, we got to get out of, we got to get out of the boroughs. We move out to Long Island in a safer environment. And that's where I started to see, wow, people are like nice to each other. People like want to say hello to each other. I started to see it. I didn't really believe it. I was too like, I had too much, I still had so much anger inside of me. I was, still working through a lot of different feelings of anger and frustration and what the hell am I doing here? I don't belong. So now I have to try to belong again to some environment where now I'm around like, uppity white people who, you know, who I have no clue how to connect to because I come from the freaking ghetto and they're making fun of me because of the way I talk. Like I'm some thug, And I'm like, wow, like, these kids are like making fun of me because like they think I'm like some hoodlum. Like, do I really talk like this? Do I really like act like this? Like I know I'm good at basketball and stuff and like they can see that. So but like like am I really some thug? So I started to like diagnose and like like look at how I talk, how I speak, how I come off, like my mannerisms, my I didn't realize that I I I soaked up all this like crazy hoodlum activity. And like if you were to look at me now, and I was literally just talking to somebody about this in the health and wellness space yesterday, and I was like, if you look at me now, you think I come from like a good background, like a good household. I'm not saying my parents didn't love me, but they had to go through their own shit. Excuse my language. They had to go through their own stuff to to get to a certain place. Yeah, so it's been a process of development. Yeah, it's really it's really a blessing though to see where I've come from, to see that I come from, a real ghetto upbringing. It's so wild, because you really you look at me and you don't think about that because I've done so much like inner and outer work of like making sure that I don't I don't have to be in certain environments to create like a vibe for myself or to feel like I belong or to have to go to. In a lot of my 20s, I'd brought these like unhealthy actions with me. It was like, yeah, let's party. Yes, I want a club. I can dance. Yeah, I want to get lit. So I went through all that. I went through all of it, but I got it out of my system. I really did, and because I never really wanted to be a part of those scenes. I had a bunch of friends in my, late teens and early 20s who were like promoters and stuff, and they would be, oh, let's go here, let's go there in Manhattan and pop these bottles and, get into this and that. So I did it. It was fun. And it's like, at the time, I thought it was like, I thought it was like, it's a thing to do. But in reality, I look back at it, and while I had to get it out of my system, while I wanted to be in that environment, there was a bigger portion of me that really wished I had just more foundation. I really wanted to be at home with like a family, like really just wanted to be at home with, my family and talking about certain things and not needing to go to external environments filled with like drugs and drinking and to like try to belong and feel some type of way. You know, there's always that in the back of my head, back of my mind, back of my soul. I'm like, man, I really partied it up at a certain period of time. But that's part of my story. And I'm so proud of myself for just working with my story and not like victimizing. And there are a lot of times where people would see me and be like, dude, I understand like this happened to you and you went through certain circumstances, but a lot of us did, man. So a lot of times you have to really take a step back and see look how far you've come and that, yes, there's a lot to still work through and to fine tune execution with how you respond to certain, things that life has throws at you, you know, not projecting anger, not immediately projecting frustration, but immediately trying to project, calculating response, seeing how I'm feeling, seeing how the other person's feeling, seeing how to be strategic with my words, with my thoughts, with my feelings. And that was very hard for me. I'm still grasping and like fully taking hold of all those things. And I'm very raw. I grew up very raw, very, there weren't any, you know, rules of discipline. Well, I had to create them. But it's been super real. It's so real, man. I look back at the situations and I'm just like, it's been a beautiful growth process. And to see where I am now in my early 30s, and I'm like, sheesh, like I've really opened myself up to to leading with love, to working on loving others, to working on loving myself and not putting myself down, to have confidence, to not think people are against me, not to immediately think like somebody's out there trying to harm me or do me wrong or give me attitude when it really just not, you know? I'm sure like we all go and are still going through certain elements of, what gets put into our head and thrown in there. So again, going back to like childhood and childhood development, we soak up so much and it really dictates what we represent and how we move forward in the world and what opportunities get thrown at us and how if we do try to apply ourselves on an everyday basis towards just trying to lead with love, lead with unity, lead with connection, lead with understanding, lead with like this person's not out here to help hurt me, lead with there's good in the world, leading with there's others that see me and see me as like valuable, and like really see myself as valuable, see myself as like valued goods. Like I have so much inside of me that I really am special and I really can produce anything I want in this world at a very high level. And I'm just so happy to share this video. And maybe I'm sorry if I'm like see things are scattered, my thoughts are scattered a little bit here, but it's a little bit more raw and real of a video in terms of just trying to showcase myself, putting myself on the podium and saying I come from lack of discipline. I come from unhealthy food habits. I come from anger. I come from, family who they don't know how to use their words. They don't know how to properly communicate. They don't know, they didn't know how to build confidence in me, And I'm saying this, and I promise I'm saying this because I've done years of work on this specific topic. So I don't hold that over their heads. They were just trying to do the best that they can do with what they were given, with what their parents gave them and brushed off on them and taught them. And it really wasn't good. My parents had very difficult upbringings. And it showcased because I had to go through some stuff, I had to see my parents at weak positions. I had to see the example that I didn't want to be. And so that has driven me, motivated me to freaking push, make sure I'm financially okay and well, like I have money in my pocket always, like make sure that I have like real loving friendships and community around me and that I can maintain those relationships, that I'm not just like doing some wild stuff and flow my emotions or my feelings around with people, and just like throwing it at them and saying, you deal with it. I don't have the responsibility of dealing with it, so you get to deal with it. I throw my anger at you. I throw my frustration at you. I throw my lack of accountability with myself at you. No. I'm not going to. No, I'm not going to do that to others, and I'm not going to do that to myself. Because you're just going through a spiral of regression, a spiral of hurting yourself, like literally hurting yourself. I've gone through so many years of hurting myself, of trying to heal but not healing. Like thinking that just moving myself away from the stuff, from the actual work was going to work. That don't work. If you run from what really needs to be healed and worked on, you're just running from life. You're just running from what is real and what's going to really heal you. And I know you might think like, yeah, you're right, but not at this time. When is it going to be the time? When are you going to face your childhood? When are you going to look at your freaking self in a mirror, or just look and feel yourself? Like, feel what's going inside of your body and your emotions. Do you feel like you're troubled? Like you can't handle like dealing with stuff? And you need to like take a step back, and you need to like do some self-reflection, and really try to diagnose. And if that's not available for you, like that's too hard for you, because it was hard for me for many years, then go seek some help. Like, go talk to a therapist. There are so many solid therapists out there who want to help. There's people out there who want to help, who can see and help you move forward and help you maximize the years of trials and tribulations. Yes, you have to put yourself out there and like go through like lifestyle situations to grow, but it gets to a point where like you're just running in a damn circle, and you need help. You need support. You need like some level of community, even if it's just a couple people, because that will help you. Like that's what like sports did for me. And then when sports were over after college, I was like, oh, what am I gonna do? So I started personal training, and then I stopped college like my junior year because I was like doing my thing. I was personal training, making like good money, and so like I started to like see like these are my people. If my people, my family, and my friends can't really back me and support me and give me the like all the love that I'm looking for, not just like to give to me, but so that I can like give to them. Like, because I have so much love inside of me that I want to give so much to people. However, like I need to like see some stuff. I need to see some type of return, right? Like if you're gonna invest in someone or something, you need to see that like it's coming back to you in some type of way. So I started to see like my clients gave me this like love. Like they saw me for who I am and who I'm like really, really am. That I'm not just like trying to grab their money. Like, yeah, I need to feed myself. I need to make sure I'm good. But like they saw me from when I started personal training at 19 years old, 20 years old, excuse me. So from 20 years old, I started to build community. And it wasn't through like social media. I'm late to the social media, but I was building heavy community by getting people freaking crazy results because I was holding myself super accountable, and I still am. It was like from age of 11, I just every year I got better with what I put in my body. I got my I don't know, it just came to me, but like literally my chakra system just started to freaking like light the freak up. Then I hit my third eye, like the consciousness in my core being. I was like, oh my God, like keep going, Sam. Keep getting freaking more jacked. Keep getting more powerful. Keep like trying to be healthier in your mind. So I kept going, and I kept training people, and I kept like just like naturally rubbing off on them. And anybody can train somebody. Anybody can show them exercises and be like, this is what you got to do to get stronger, get more fit, and live a healthy lifestyle. However, there's only, and I really realized this over the years, there's only a certain amount of people who can really get people to subscribe because they showcase how much they really love, how much they really lead with love, how much they want to see you execute this movement so that so that the deficiencies they see you have in the lines of movement that and they can see that there's root causes. Like I can feel and see when somebody's going through like a root, something that's like in their root, in their core, hurting them and trickling up and down into affecting their, knees, ankles, hips, shoulders, neck, cervical spine. It's just like there's core situations that we take on through trauma. So we want to close ourselves off, or, we just push ourselves so damn hard that we're just put into this like dysfunctional state, or we don't push ourselves enough. So you never really learn what it is to really do the work. You gotta really put the freaking work in. So sorry to like ramble a little bit, but there's just so much I want to express, and this definitely isn't the last time that I'm going to be talking about childhood development and how our childhood really does rub off on us, and it's really up to us to diagnose and diagnosis through not just like yourself, through like seeking help, so through seeking environments, through seeking healthy environments, through seeing like, wow, I really want to play for this team. I can see like this is another level. How am I going to get there? So learning and like writing out a plan of action, which leads to writing out a plan of action for your next business, which leads to reading out a plan of action, for maybe it's your health and wellness goals. Maybe it's your lifestyle goals. You want to set up a new routine for yourself. So there really is no wrong time at starting and or adding execution to your table, to your plate. So I hope this has sparked some interest and motivation for you to execute, for you to understand that me personally, like I don't come from all the support and guidance and love and community that I'm talking about. I come from the opposite of that. So I'm telling you, like, if I can go from eating McDonald's and shit food and processed ingredients and not having proper stability at home, and grow into accountability, mindfulness, love, connection, having relationships, having meaningful relationships, having friendships, having love, like you can do it too. I'm special. I know I'm special, but you're special too. You just have to learn how to bring it out of you. You have to learn and see what will bring it out of you. So I'm super excited for you to just absorb my energy and just feel my support here, because I'm bringing this type of message. I'm opening up myself, which feels very, very vulnerable, especially this type of like childhood discussion. It's not easy for me to like just like hop on the camera and talk about where I come from, and I will open up more, maybe in depth, and when the time is right. I felt like this was a beautiful topic to just focus on right now, to really understand that no matter where you are, no matter where you come from, no matter the situations that you have been dealt, okay, no matter what God and the universe has in front of you right now, that might be super painful, that might feel like you can't execute through, you can. And it starts with little stuff. Just start taking walks. Start to go to the park. Start to bring your basketball to the park. Start to get into circles of groups of friends that want to see you grow, of people who are out trying to heal themselves as well. Being in healthy environments, yoga studios, gyms, different healthy arenas. No matter what age you are, it really doesn't matter. And this is a reason why I'm creating a community. It's just right out there. I'm really working on creating a community for us all to feel support with. Mental, physical, emotional, developmental. I feel the connection and the calling to do so. So I'm going to keep sharing with you. I'm going to keep dropping my vulnerability and just like putting that to the side, because I come to a stage in my life where there are certain things that are much more important. Sharing my story helping a young person, the youth person, or even an older person who has been dealt crazy cards in their life and they don't know how to move forward. Like, I want to be an example too, though. Like saying you can become more financially stable, you can be more physically dominant, and strong and powerful and mobile and flexible, and still have a masculinity to yourself and still have a femininity to yourself. Be feminine. You can be, and this is a whole another subject, and I'm going to keep it there, but you can be who you want to be. You can develop into who you want to develop, even if you don't initially see exactly, wow, you're going to grow into this specific role. Just keep going towards peace. Keep going to what makes you feel good, what makes you look good, what gives you confidence, what gives you love, what gives you sincerity towards your word. When you speak, you mean it. When you tell somebody you're going to do something, you're going to do it. When you tell yourself you're going to do something, you're going to do it. So, guys, as I'm saying, this has been an extremely, vulnerable talk. I need to open up like this. It also means the world to me, and I'm so happy I've gotten on with someone to do this and to work on giving. I'm just like trying to open some things up with inside of you, with inside of others. Maybe it's how you talk to the next person who's going through something. Maybe it's not you who's going through some heartaches, but it's maybe your loved one or your sister, brother, mother, father. Who knows, okay? But maybe it's just yourself, right? And you just need support. We all need support, especially in these times in the world. There's so much going on. There's so many different sides of stories and people wanting to fight because they're not able to connect to source and love and what's real. Hate is not real. Love is real. Coming together is real. No matter who and what you are, Muslim, Jewish, purple, orange, yellow, rainbow. Again, I come from such a multicultural background and I've seen what it really does mean to live in certain circumstances. And you can really butterfly out of it. You can butterfly out of it. You can reach new levels. You can grow into being exactly what you want and need in this world. And I just want to finish with showcasing and sharing that I really do mean what I say. I really do love connecting or trying to connect with this community and who's ever listening right now. And I find it super important for us all to share our gifts and to keep working on those gifts that God and the universe has given to us. I hope you will have a beautiful weekend. I hope you really just do stuff, do activities, movement, cook for yourselves, be in healthy arenas with environments with your friends and family that we can really just light each other up. I'm excited to share more, and I'm really happy I got on today and spoke on, different childhood situations and what I personally had dealt with and what I'm working with now and so much. And I'm so excited to keep sharing more.